and welcome to the show. I'm here at Centenary Tower, the highest point in Mount Gambier, and boy, what a view. Today, one of Australia's most talented performers is giving me a personal tour of her favourite sites around town. But first, let's check in with the rest of the team. Callum shows us why he's a sucker for seasonal produce.
Find out why we're vacuuming outside in the Adelaide Hills.
And we catch up with SA's Hugh Sheridan.
I'm probably the proudest South Australian out there.
But first, here's Ron.
It's a classic beauty in downtown Wurruka, population 200. The story of this Yorke Peninsula retreat is as old as time itself.
My grandfather had it built for his new wife, and there's a big story behind that.
The old wedding photo's proof that William Baker, the man who built Valera back in 1910, finally got his girl. But it was no sure thing. William and his brother Alf had established a thriving retail business here in what's now called the Top Shop. The Baker boys were doing well, but William needed more. He needed a wife. He'd been courting young Millie from far off Ballarat, and things were looking good, but she was no pushover. As many of us know, the course of love rarely runs smoothly, and William Baker was about to find that out. He was dead keen to bring his sweetheart to Wurruka from Ballarat, but Millie was obviously a very forceful woman, and she wrote back to him saying, "I'm not coming until certain conditions are met." A wise woman.
The story is at the house as it was being built before they were married, and she was coming all the way from Ballarat, which was a long way at the time, of course, and wouldn't come until it was completely finished and furnished.
So she told him that in no uncertain terms?
I think so.
Because when you think for a woman to come from Ballarat in 1910 to a place called Wurruka in Yorke Peninsula, that's a fair ask.
It's a long way. Yeah, this would have been very remote.
Owner Steph Ball, part of the Baker clan, is very proud of Valera and has restored this Wurruka wonder to its former glory. Much of the furniture dates back to the days when William Baker finally enticed his Victorian sweetheart to make the journey to country South Australia. In the parlour, an old piano still gets the occasional workout, as Steph's daughter Holly Ball takes us back to the turn of last century. Holly now travels the country as a performer, but can't wait to get back to this key part of her family's story. For her, the tale of a bloke determined to get his girl makes Valera the perfect retreat, a place full of romance.
It is. It's an ongoing love story. I'm very proud of the work that my mum has now put into this place to preserve it, to preserve our family name, and to open it up for the public and the community to enjoy.
Throughout the rooms, with their ornate plaster ceilings, a feature William no doubt thought would please his new bride Millie, hang the photos of keen photographer Steph Ball. They're all about capturing the romance of Yorke Peninsula, with wild coastal scenery, ripening wheat fields, lonely bush tracks and stunning beach sunsets. For Steph, Valera is the ideal getaway for the creative at heart.
I'd certainly like Valera to become somewhere people could come and stay, and I did a few workshops myself and tours, photography, and I have people that can come and give tutoring, or if they just want to do a tour, I'd be very happy to do that.
A tour for photography?
Yeah, take them to spots that they wouldn't normally know about.
There are plenty nearby. To find them, I jumped on board an old jalopy William Baker would have known well, a classic Chevy owned by Point Turton local Rich Germain. With faithful Mutt Minnie in tow, we cruise the back roads of Yorkes. This beauty will get you anywhere if you're prepared to give it the occasional push on secret gems like nearby Flarty's Beach. Proof that Valera's the ideal base for the bottom of Yorkes.
You've got the whole bottom end in this national park, right around to the Stansbury, Edithburgh, Port Vincent and this side of the coast too, right down to Corny Point. So there's a little bit of everything. Yeah, that's basically pretty central.
And a great way to get around in the old Chevy.
It has its moments, but yes. Basically we'll go where a four-wheel drive will go, so yeah, that's a help.
As we've seen today with a bit of help from me.
Yeah.
Valera, named after Millie Baker's hometown in Victoria. She just dropped the T. You can drop all your cares and worries at the doorstep of this Yorke Peninsula lifestyle retreat. It's located in the main street of Wurruka. For details, head to the website.
After the break, singing the praises of Mount Gambier.
Damn it, I want you, but don't want no wolf who just can't love me in the daylight. And you don't work no more. And darling, what am I still here for?
Powerhouse singer-songwriter Louise Adams is one of Australia's most talented performers. But today, she's taking time out of her busy touring schedule to play tour guide in her hometown of Mount Gambier.
You don't love me like I love you.
We're meeting at one of her favourite places, the recently opened Limestone Coast Pantry. Louise, hi.
Hey, Kelly.
Nice to see you. Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good.
I love this place. Serving up home-style food from real family recipes and stocking wines and produce from the area, this is literally the Limestone Coast on a plate.
Food's great. I find myself coming here, grab a coffee or grab a beer or, depending on the time of the day.
Yes.
And, meet friends, or sometimes I come here and just work on some songs. It's got some old school shearing shed, farm vibes.
Retro. Tables.
Yeah, retro, bit of vintage, bit of industrial hipster. Pretty much all the things I like.
I can understand why you like it. Now we've had our coffee fix, it's off to the second stop on her itinerary.
All right.
Let's go.
You driving?
I am. All right. On the road, we pass another of Louise's top picks, the imposing Centenary Tower that has views that stretch as far as the eye can see. This region is, of course, a state heritage-listed volcanic area, and its sinkholes and caves create a unique, otherworldly environment.
It's the youngest volcanic region in Australia, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Like, a little bit nerve-wracking given the volcano is literally
Right
there.
Yeah.
So I often just think, you know,
volcano part of your house insurance?
I don't know.
Thankfully now dormant, Louise never fails to be captivated by its largest crater, the iconic Blue Lake.
It's funny to have a spot that you see almost every day and it can still take my breath away. Like,
That's
I
incredible.
know that, it sounds a bit romantic, but it's pretty crazy. And, I don't think there's anywhere like this in Australia. It's actually the source of drinking water for the town.
Is that really?
Yeah.
All right. To finish the day in the welcoming style of this close-knit community, it's dinner at her place. Louise moved to Mount Gambier 9 years ago when she fell in love with local winemaker Andy. Tucking into delicious locally sourced food and their own label Good Intentions wines, it's easy to see that Louise, Andy and their daughter Frankie have found a life they cherish in the Mount.
The space that you can get in a country area as an artist is really special, and I might have a 2-week period at home where I just hang out with Frankie and I write music, and it's a little indulgent.
That's
but
a great life.
I think.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.
It's been awesome.
Cheers, Frankie.
Cheers,
Where are
Frankie.
Oh.
Shy. Cheers. To create a personal tour of your own, visit the Tourism Mount Gambier website. It's full of information to help you make the most of your visit. And to find out where Louise is performing next and what she's up to musically, check out her website and social media.
Damn it, I want you, but don't want no wolf who just can't love me in the daylight.
Next, where to bag a bounty in the Adelaide Hills.
There's nothing like a drive in the hills on a clear autumn day. So my mate Themis and I are headed to Forest Range.
I feel very calm. It's like, I think we've passed one car since we've been driving. I know. It's very relaxing.
Oh, we've got a beautiful day for it.
Themis is a fellow foodie and a dietitian, so aside from enjoying the views, we're keen to find some seasonal produce that thrives in this area. Our first stop boasts orchards brimming with a variety of exotic fruits and nut groves. Ready for harvest are these spiky specimens, chestnuts.
Here we are at Adelaide Hills fresh chestnuts. Did you know they were grown here?
You know what, mate? I had absolutely no idea. It's something I kind of associate with enjoying somewhere overseas, exotic, walking down a boulevard when they're beautifully roasted. But, you know, they're right here in the Adelaide Hills.
Absolutely. So let's get cracking.
This family business is helmed by Sally Robbins, who uses chemical-free and sustainable farm practices. Like an echidna, chestnuts have sharp spines, so she shows us the safest way to gather them.
What is this intriguing contraption we've got behind us here?
That's a nut harvester. We wait till the nuts fall from the trees to the ground, then we basically just suck them up through these hoses like a big vacuum cleaner.
If only I could find the same enthusiasm for vacuuming at home. And for those chestnuts that are a little stubborn, all it takes is some gentle persuasion.
I feel like when you see like an elephant eat and it uses its trunk, because I'm constantly watching elephants eat, you see.
You don't want to stand too far underneath it, do you?
This is exactly how much fun that looks.
That was a blast, but even better is sampling some of Sally's chestnut recipes.
As they cook, they kind of, come open.
Roasting chestnuts couldn't be simpler, but it's important that you score them first or they'll burst when you cook them.
Really kind of earthy and sweet and crispy texture on the outside and a little bit chalky and soft on the inside.
Yeah, I love that slight char you get from the outside and there's just that lovely sweetness in the middle.
I agree.
Delicious.
Next stop, Lenswood, a small town that produces 70% of SA's apples. Our destination is the Manu Orchard that's been family run for over 100 years.
Hi, Bron.
Good morning, boys. How are we?
Good, Bron. Hi, Mel. How are you?
Good. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. This is absolutely stunning. So you're going to show us how to pick apples today?
Absolutely. Jump on in, the chariot awaits.
Let's do it.
All right. We should travel like this more often, Cal.
Yeah, let's hit it, Mel.
There's over 8,000 trees here with varieties such as Pink Lady, Fuji and Gala.
There's more apples than leaves on that tree.
It's like falling under its own weight.
A working orchard not normally open to the public, we're not here to rest.
I wasn't counting, but I'm pretty sure I had more.
There's nothing quite like meeting the people who put their heart and soul into growing our amazing fresh South Australian produce. 3 orchards including Manu will throw open their gates for the upcoming Pick a Pink Lady weekend. Held on the 5th and 6th of May, check the Apple and Pear Growers Association of SA website for details. And Sally from Adelaide Hills Fresh Chestnuts would love to see you at the farm or at the Adelaide Showground Farmers Market. Just call ahead or check those social media for opening times.
Coming up, getting to know SA's Hugh Sheridan.
For me, there's nothing quite like performing in Adelaide. I'm Hugh Sheridan and I grew up in Millswood. I was first attracted to the performing arts because my dad was a singer here in Adelaide. He was the singing mayor of Unley and he had a big band and a quartet. I used to go and see a lot of shows. I loved the Fringe when I was a teenager. I used to go and see everything at the Festival Theatre, the Cabaret Festival, all of them, and I would just look at these performers and just be like, oh, you know, one day I'd wait at the stage door after every show and get everyone's autograph. Like, so embarrassing now that I think about it. Now I work with these people, I'm like, I have your autograph. I think for me, there's nothing quite like performing in Adelaide. I've been proudly walking around with the band members from the California Crooners, telling them about that the Aboriginal flag just outside this hotel was the first one. It was designed here and flown first here in Victoria Square, or that Adelaide is called the City of Churches because it was the first state to have freedom of religion. And there's all these amazing things, like Adelaide was the second city in the world where women could vote. And I think Adelaide's just awesome. My favourite holiday memories of SA is always going to be Valera Peninsula and Aldinga Beach. It's just the most beautiful spot in the world. There's just no question. It's so rugged and raw and stunning and natural, and I love it. It gives me goosebumps talking about it. When I come home to Adelaide, obviously I love seeing my family and my friends. I just hang out in the city and explore and try and find all the new coffee shops and little places that are opening all the time. I'm probably the proudest South Australian out there. I mean, I like to get in a big fight interstate about how much better I think South Australia is than everywhere else. I can't stand anyone giving crap to Adelaide. I mean, we can. We can say whatever we want, but we say it with jest because really, I love it so much, and I think we've got to remember who we are and hold on to it and be proud.
Well, that's all we've got time for on the show today, but I hope we've inspired you to visit the stunning limestone coast. It's full of fascinating places to explore, and the people who live here can't wait to show you around.